Kelly Krauskopf, if you can't handle the heat, get out of the kitchen. If you were perfectly fine when Fever fans were bending over, kissing your ass, applauding your decisions, you better stand here and take it when Fever fans are pissed off, upset, and are voicing their displeasures. If our voice mattered that much then, you best believe it matters that much now.
The entire basketball world is talking about what the president of the Indiana Fever recently said about Caitlin Clark. Additionally, I have to acknowledge that trying to minimize the significance of your motivation alters all franchise players. The reaction was fast and harsh. Karma is a humorous reminder of the true leader. The consequences of this mistake are utterly ludicrous. What do you suppose happens when companies try to reduce the number of their top stars?
Brand is going to get as big and go as far as Caitlin Clark takes it. And I don't think Kelly Krauskopf understands that. And the latest video that is surfacing, floating around, being consumed by Fever fans across the globe, because this is an international superstar they have on their hands. This may have been the straw that broke the camel's.
It appeared from player and staff reactions that someone had anticipated it happening at the Indiana Fever. More than just Caitlin Clark, recording a conversation regarding their planned brand development was a great idea because nothing conveys a good business strategy like publicly disparaging the individual who independently prevented your franchise from becoming completely irrelevant. Isn't that correct? The Fever leadership, I'm being courteous and addressing it as leadership here, discussed their objective of building a lasting brand in their comments. Like Apple, Caitlin Clark's purpose in all of this is to ensure that everyone knows that they want to avoid depending too much on their core players because everyone is concerned about our group. Incidentally, corporate talk is a fundamental player.
That we want to sustain the growth and the interest level in the franchise. I mean, this is about the Indiana Fever. Yes, we have a foundational player in Caitlin Clark and Leah Boston, and we're going to continue to add to that. But I want this team to be the leader in the country, and a brand, an enduring brand, like Apple or something. I mean, we have a real opportunity.
Let me describe how tone-deaf these comments were. This executive essentially told fans on social media that they wanted to maintain the franchise's growth and enthusiasm while also suggesting that Caitlin Clark, the person in charge of that growth and interest, shouldn't take precedence over Focus McDonald's claims that they want to be known for more than just hamburgers while purposefully trying to hide the Big Mac. Fans reacted swiftly, which is to be expected when you denigrate their intelligence. Social media users were yelling at the company for its total disconnection from reality. In all honesty, they deserved all of the mistreatment. They achieved success.
This isn't the NFL. This is the WNBA. A star is going to take the Fever where the Fever want to go. And that star is Caitlin Clark. Kelly, you're talking about being a leading brand. You're talking about sustaining growth, sustaining the interest level in the franchise. You know how that happens? Is if Caitlin Clark stays in Indiana, is if Caitlin Clark is participating in an entertaining and exciting brand of basketball that doesn't take away and diminish her skill sets, that doesn't turn off fans that have been following her for the last 3 to 5 years.
These astute business people appeared to overlook this. Before Caitlin Clark came, about 4,000 people were watching the Fever on a pleasant evening. Few people signed up since each game's television ratings were so poor. In the world of sports, it was practically impossible to predict the final ideas, or the next group. When CC arrives, they start selling out arenas and keeping attendance figures, which are crucial for the national discussions. They believe this occurred as a result of their outstanding organizational structure, yet they are mistaken in their immense wisdom. They have a talent that has been handed down through the ages. Watching the basketball game piques people's genuine curiosity. The illusion is completely collapsing. The analogy to Apple is ludicrous, as Apple revolutionized the industry by centering their whole brand around cutting-edge goods. They made many attempts to minimize the iPhone or act as though the iPad didn't matter. They embraced their creative creations and built everything around them. This is exactly what the Fever should be doing. Some successful franchises have always ended with their stars. When you have Michael Jordan, you don't strive to lessen his impact. You center the entire enterprise around optimizing his potential. When you have Magic, you don't act as a team. Johnson would be equally well-liked without him. Showtime was not inadvertently created by the Lakers. The Bulls' rise to international fame was no accident. These develop as a result of astute groups discovering they had unique players and basing their entire identity on showcasing those abilities. However, it seems that Trust ignored the Heat brain that memo rather than recognizing that they had won. Caitlin Clark and the lottery. They are concerned about distributing the wealth and ensuring that everyone has a chance to shine. They appear to be more focused on their injured feelings than on winning prizes. Let's also discuss how current these remarks are, which adds to their absurdity. We had just finished watching when this happened. In a system that underutilizes her skills, Caitlin faces challenges. We have witnessed her struggle to establish contact, cope with teammates who failed to pass, and participate in an offensive that appears to be planned to reduce her effectiveness. So, superstar, what do? Supporters write remarks that essentially confirm everyone's worst suspicions about their top priority when they are already frustrated with the organization's administration, as if they were attempting to put out a fire with gasoline. There was swift and severe retaliation. Admirers began to doubt the organization's true value. People started discussing Caitlin's potential benefits elsewhere when her contract status permitted. The complete opposite of what you want when creating a long-lasting brand. This is the worst part. They have every right to be worried. Caitlin Clark won't remain on indefinitely if the company doesn't demonstrate a commitment to success. She is too gifted and competitive to waste her best years waiting for a company that doesn't value its resources. The comparison with other markets is especially instructive. What would happen if Caitlin or Clark had this kind of organizational failure while they were performing in Boston or New York? Sports radio will completely ruin daily management. There would be constant pressure and calls for changes. However, due to their location in Indianapolis, which they are keeping an eye on in terms of drawing notice, they believe they can get away with doing this kind of thinking backward. The greatest irony in this situation is that they are actually raising their risk of losing Caitlin Clark in an attempt to keep themselves from becoming unduly reliant on her. When you don't value everything you own, you put up circumstances that allow businesses to take advantage of that asset. Many businesses would also be happy to accept Caitlin Clark and build their entire brand around marketplaces that would embrace her reputation for attempting to dominate it in order to produce. Everyone is at ease. The concept of karma in the entire scenario is that, rather than coming off as a well-managed company, their remarks instantly provoked the precise kind of controversy and criticism they were most likely attempting to avoid. Even if they come with well-balanced priorities, they appear to be tone-AF CEOs who don't comprehend their own company plan. It's arguably the most accurate interpretation of what transpired. Some people are extremely fortunate, but they have no idea why. When you downplay your team's public player relevance, they will quickly learn a very costly lesson about the realities of professional sports. They believe that their achievement can be duplicated without the person who achieved it. As a result, don't be shocked if you receive criticism from the basketball community. The leadership of the Fever had to learn this lesson the hard way. What do you think? If businesses ever attempt to downplay their superstars, do let me know in the comments. To see more perspectives that defy the corporate heat, click like. Press the subscribe button. Heat and music. One indisputable reality emerges above the chaos when the whole situation reaches a boiling point. We are in the midst of an event that will reverberate well beyond a single press conference, statement, or choice. One team, one executive, or even one superstar isn't the only factor in this. This is to do with a franchise's future, the demands of millions of supporters, and the accountability that comes with running a company that is at the forefront of the basketball world. Because every decision becomes a statement, and every statement becomes a turning point when the spotlight is this bright, and everyone is watching. Today's fans are more engaged, knowledgeable, and enthusiastic than ever. They notice the numbers, they are aware of the past, and they recognize the importance of the players who advance the game. They raise their voices when something seems wrong, they recognize excellence, and they stand up for what they believe in. Furthermore, Those voices don't originate from rage in situations like these. They stem from investment, loyalty, and the desire to see their beloved club realize its greatest potential. The fans are no longer merely spectators. They are interested parties. They are the beating heart. The world pays attention to what they have to say. This is why this moment is so pivotal. At its core are a franchise managing pressure, a fan base seeking clarification, and a superstar whose impact has changed not just a team, but the entire environment. Impacts like those are uncommon. It is a generational presence. Furthermore, momentum of that kind doesn't just happen. It occurs when talent, opportunity, and worldwide attention come together in a way that transforms everything. You're not just managing a roster when you have a player that inspires a whole new generation of fans, fills arenas, increases ratings, and draws millions of new players to the game. This is the reason the upcoming chapter is so important. Because the franchise's future will be shaped by the choices made now. They will decide whether this organization rises to the occasion or lets it pass. Teams that have competed at the championship level throughout history have recognized one basic fact. Instead of fighting their momentum, great companies build on it. Instead of dimming their star's light, they increase it. They thrive under pressure rather than flee from it. Strong leadership differs from confused leadership in this regard. What distinguishes squandered opportunities from long-term success? And there is a far larger question that goes beyond the claims, the responses, and the discussion.